Here's how I do market research when I first start. So there's two different categories. We have people in small towns and people in big cities. So let's go if you're in a big city, okay? If you're in a big city like Las Vegas, depending on how many tourists come, I want to know a couple things. The first thing is, am I going to do locals or tourists? How easy it is to decide this? Is the airport 30 minutes one way from where I have the cars? For us in Las Vegas, it's only about 15 minutes. So I'm able to bring the cars to the airport without any issue. Now, if I was in LA or Burbank and it was 45 minutes to LAX, I wouldn't, or an hour, I wouldn't even deliver them. And why is that important? Because when you deal with tourists, you have a whole different avenue than dealing with locals. So that's the first thing I want to decide. Am I doing airport delivery or not? Am I close with 30 minutes one way or not? If I am, good. So in Las Vegas, we are about 15 minutes from the airport. So I want to know two things. I want to go on the Turo app, so download the Turo app, and then I want to see all of what the top hosts are doing. What are they renting out? Who is renting their cars, right? So I want to see what their top cars are. In Vegas, we have a lot of Mustang EcoBoost. We have a lot of BMW 3 Series. We have a lot of higher end cars as well. But these two Mustang EcoBoost, because it's a cheaper sports car, they're able to drop the top in the summer. They love it. So there's a lot of those. And there's also a lot of Teslas because there's so many superchargers out here. And we have a lot of clients that go out of town. So I could find all of that information, which I literally did, on the Turo app. So that's the first way you go to do your market research. Then for me, the second one was I actually just drove down in the popular tourist areas on the strip in Las Vegas and drove through a couple parking garages. And we literally marked down a lot of Hondas, a lot of Kias, because most people aren't driving to Vegas, they're flying. So these are typically rental cars from somewhere. So we're able to differentiate what we wanted to start with. That's how we actually started. So if you guys are in an area with tourists, you guys need to go on the tour app, and you guys should drive around the most populated areas where tourists are and see what type of cars that are being driven, because that's what's typically in need. Now, if you guys are in a small town and you guys don't have an airport close to you, still download the tour app and start with there. And I would still go in areas that you guys could think. Now, if you guys have the locals, I want you guys to understand it's going to be a little bit different process because you guys are not going to go to the tourist spots. So for locals, they're typically renting the cars if they're going out of town. So if you guys live in an area where there's a lot of driving out of town. So for instance, if you guys live somewhere where everybody starts to go like from New York to Florida, then it makes sense. You got to understand, okay, they're going to go to Florida every summer or when it gets cold in New York. So what we're going to do is we're going to get SUVs, right? Or if you're near Colorado and they're going to drive to the mountains, you're going to get SUVs with all-wheel drives. So this is just some of the stuff to think about when you're doing the market research. You got to start with the app, and then you guys got to know your area. So if you're new to the area, get around and see, what are people flying out here for? What are people doing when they fly out? Some places are just a college town, so you guys just want a 4-door sedan. And I understand all that without having to be in all of these markets, because it's a very simple game once you guys download the app and you guys understand where they are going with the cars.